Oh, hello! Welcome back to my channel. This video is a beginner-friendly tutorial on the HYPNO Visual Synth by Sleepy Circuit. Essentially, I'm just showing the basic functionalities of the device as I understand them. So I will point out that there are a lot of excellent tutorial videos on the Sleepy Circuit website, and I highly recommend that you check these out as well. My video might still be useful because I'm a beginner when it comes to visual synths, so I have a perspective that might be closer to yours in that sense. If you're also a beginner, I'm sure some of you are very advanced already. So that's the idea. The last thing I'll mention is if you want to help my channel, please make sure to like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. Hopefully I'm hoping to make more videos on more advanced topics related to the HYPNO. So for example, syncing the visuals with audio using CV and MIDI, using external input. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right, so here it is. This is the HYPNO plugged in, right, and generating some visuals. So essentially, HYPNO is a dual oscillator visual generator. So you have two oscillators, or two shapes, shape A and shape B. And in general, shape A is on this side, shape B is on that side. And a lot of the controls are mirrored for each of the shapes. And the way HYPNO works in large part is through different pages, and you get access to these pages by holding different combination of these three buttons. So the main page, the home page, I guess, is when you're not holding anything. And it is a page where you have control of shape A here, and then control of shape B there, and it's kind of mirrored, so whatever applied to shape A on this side will apply to shape B on this side. And this button is for the feedback, this knob and this button, and this one will control the general hue, so the general color of the shapes. All right, so let me demonstrate. So this side is for shape A. In this case, shape A is the blue circle here. Let me change one thing I need to change here. Yes, okay, here we go. All right, so the button allow me to go through the different shapes. So green is tan, yellow is poly, so polygon, and we can actually choose. There is actually ways to change the number of sides. In this case, I'm dealing with hexagons, it looks like, but it can be triangles, can be squares, can be pentagons. Then I have circle, oval, and then I have fractal noise, which is some sort of like random shapes. And finally, I have sine, which in this case looks the same as tan, but that has to do with some other parameters that I'll show you later. So you have these different shapes, right? So let's settle for tan, okay. And same thing for shape B. So I have squares, I have tan, I have poly, circle, fractal noise, and let's go back to sin, which I agree, it looks like a square, but these shapes can be modified by many other parameters, so they can take a lot of different aspects. All right, then we have these two knobs. So these two knobs are for shape A. This one controls the rotation, right? Pretty self-explanatory. And this one controls what they call the polarization, which is basically you're kind of folding it, and if you go all the way, you end up with a circle. And I think any shape, no, it's not true for every shape. Sorry about that. A lot of shape will end up with a circle, so that's what you get here. So rotation and polarization. Finally, this slider here controls the size of the shape. They call it the frequency, but yeah, essentially the size. So you're making it smaller, bigger. Same thing for the other one. Okay, so you can have like tiny squares, bigger ones. All right, so that's it for the shape controls. And then we have the feedback control. So feedback is really where a lot of the magic happens with HYPNO. So with this button, you can control the feedback mode. So there are 5 of them. And they give you different response. And then with the feedback, you can adjust the gain. So I think at noon like that, it's 0, so no feedback. And then as you turn, you get more and more feedback. So as you turn clockwise, you get more and more. I think that means shape A will be dominant, shape B, I'm sorry. And if you turn clockwise, shape A will be more dominant. So in this case, it doesn't make a difference, but sometimes it's widely different. And again, you have many different modes, which really give you a lot of. And here it's really about navigating very slowly, kind of finding the sweet spots. Yeah. Ooh, all right. And finally, the bottom knob here controls the hue, like general, the hue offset for both shapes, right? So the color, essentially, right? Let's choose something a little more. Okay. Whoa. Okay, it's kind of crazy. Let's lower the feedback. We have something a little more reasonable. Here we go. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's the home page, the main page. Then we have a page that gives us additional control for each shape. And there's one of these pages for shape A, one of these pages for shape B. And the way you access them, for shape A, you will hold this button. For shape B, you will hold that button. So I'll demonstrate with shape A. So I'm holding this button. So now I have access to some modulation. So this knob here gives me access to modulation of the rotation, right? Rotation modulation. One direction, the other, and at noon it's at 0. It's kind of a little hard to reset at 0. I wish there was a way to just press a button. But it's okay. I don't mind if it turns a little very slow like that. Then we have the Y modulation, which in this case doesn't do anything. I'm not sure why. Then we have the fractal amount. So fractal is kind of introduce further kind of symmetrical, shape. So it kind of divide the image into like create a bunch of symmetries that create some cool stuff happening. And you can modulate the fractal with this knob here. Right, so here I have a modulation of this fractal thing. Then here with the slide we have shape scroll. So it's I think horizontal scrolling of the shape. Let me go back to a more simple version. Here we go. Yeah, so you can see the scrolling. Okay. All right. So what else? We also have access to, with this knob, the saturation. So you can have, all the way down you get to black and white, right? And all the way up you get the most vibrant colors. And you can change the color, but this time, unlike on the home page, you control the color of only shape A in this case, right? Only one of the shapes, okay? And then if you want to control shape B, you hold this button and you have access to the same thing. It's pretty much mirrored. So now the fractal thing is here. Actually, let me disconnect shape A. So to disconnect the shape, you go to the shape page. So here I'm holding this button, so on the shape A page, and you press this, and I got rid of shape A. So now we only have shape B, and it's easier to see. So that's the fractal amount. That should be the fractal modulation. Yes, it is. Then that should be the scroll mod. I don't know why it doesn't do anything, but and that should be the rotation. So let me get rid of the fractal. Yeah, rotation modulation, and that's the I think it's supposed to be the y-axis modulation here. Okay. Right, so you can get some cool stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna try to cancel. And again, I wish there was a way to just one press of the button get rid of all the modulations and everything. All right, here we go. Okay, so that's the shape page. Again, there are two of them. Press this for shape A, press that for shape B, and I'm gonna reactivate shape A. So again, you go to the shape A page and you press this button. When it's green, the shape is activated. Then you have one more page for the shapes, the so-called advanced shape page. So for this, you need to hold two buttons. So for shape A, I will hold these two, and for shape B, you will hold these two. So let me demonstrate. So I'm holding these two. So now I'm accessing the shape A advanced page. So these three knobs are not assigned to anything. This one gives me an aspect correct. So in this case, it looks kind of weird, but it's essentially kind of stretching the shape. Let me see if I change the shape to, okay, this. Yeah, stretch the shape, or in this case for polygon, that's where I can actually, choose how many sides. So go from triangle to square. But then if I was on another shape, say the circle oval, I could, I can kind of stretch it one way or the other. And in the middle, at noon, I'm kind of neutral. Then these two knobs will affect, as always, they tend to affect more like the color. So in this case, it's the Luma key, whatever that is. I'm not an expert in visual technology, but that, as you can see, that kind of creates widely different, looks for the shape. Kind of make them hollow, make them smaller, bigger. Then the slider does it's Y crop. So I guess, it affects again the shape. Let me try it with a different shape. Let's try it with noise. What does it do with noise? Nothing. Okay. What does it do with this guy? The sine shape? Not much. Yeah, so as you can see, depending on the shape, depending on the other settings, some of these button will be sometimes completely ineffective, or on the contrary, very powerful, very effective. So it's a kind of complicated chemistry of mix of different parameters, and it's really about kind of navigating and finding sweet spots and stuff like that. So what do we have? Do we have more on these advanced shape pages? I think that's it. So the important thing is that this is the advanced shape page for shape A, but I can have access to the advanced shape page for shape B by pressing these two buttons, and then everything is mirrored. So now this guy is the stretch, the aspect correct. This one is the other stretch. We'll call it like that. They call it Y crop or FM wave shape. I don't know. Again, you have to kind of, well, what did I do? I don't know. Okay, this is the Luma key. So again, control kind of hollow it in the center with this one, and then make it bigger and smaller with that one. At least that's the way I see it. Okay, and that's it for the advanced shape page. Yeah, and one more thing I will mention is the way you can save presets. So let's say you turn things around and you find something you like. Okay, boom, I like this, very cool, nice. So let's put some feedback. Oh, very nice, boom. Oh, here we go. I like that. Okay, let's say I really love this thing. I want to save the preset. There are 3 presets, and the way you access them is by holding 2 buttons and pressing the 3rd one. So if you want to access this preset, you hold these 2 buttons, you press this. If you want to access this preset, you hold these 2 buttons, you press this one. If you want to access that preset, you hold these 2 buttons and you press this one. But here I'll show you how to save the preset. Let's say I want to save that here. What I can do is I can hold the other 2 buttons and then hold this one until it turns green. And now if I can change things around, and to get back to this preset, I just hold these 2 buttons, press this one, and boom, I'm back to my preset. You can actually save some additional preset on a USB drive, and you can also use a MIDI keyboard to take you through different presets with more than 3 presets, okay? So I won't go into detail, but there are options to have more than 3 presets. Okay, so the last page I should mention is there is also a feedback page that gives you control over some aspect of the feedback. So to access the feedback page, you hold this central button here. And here you have, okay, so feedback X offset. So this is kind of an offset on the horizontal axis, offset on the vertical axis. There is a rotation mod for the feedback, so you can have well, it was already moving, but yeah, here we go. So now we can have it turn one way or another. There is rotation here, no modulation, but just basic rotation on this knob. So rotation mod, X offset, Y offset. This is the feedback zoom, so you can zoom in, zoom out. Yeah, that's actually pretty important. I didn't know this one. Yeah, cool. There is a hue shift, so you can control the kind of the color. Yeah. And by the way, everything is super colorful, kind of Candyland here, but remember that you can control that, and you can actually also play, if you want to, with straight black and white stuff. Well, here I still have some color in the feedback, but that can be pretty cool. And can I get rid of the color in the feedback? I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it will depend on the type of feedback. Yeah, like that. Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. So you can, it doesn't have to be completely, super colorful all the time. It can be black and white, and it can also be, a little, more moderately colorful if less saturated. In other words, yeah, something like that, for example. All right. If you want something a little more, quote unquote, tasteful. Okay, and for the feedback page, there is two more. The sliders give you feedback to shape gain. So, okay, so this only works when this button is green. Oh, okay, so you can actually, what do you do with that? Amount of modulation going from the feedback frame back into the corresponding shape. Only active when corresponding button patch is on green. Okay, so you can kind of, whoa, yeah, I can do some cool stuff here. Let me do it for the other one. Okay, all right. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so very, very complex. I think it would, I'm sure if you work at it, you can probably get to the point where you can really get it to do what you want, but for me, it's really not that important. What's important is you just navigate and you turn knobs and until you find something you like, and you can save it and recall it as a preset. So what I did not touch upon here is that obviously you can control all these parameters via either MIDI or CV, and that's where really the magic happens, when there is an interaction between the sound and different parameters here. That's really where things get really cool. Other things you can do that I did not touch upon here, you can actually replace one of the shape with either like a recorded video, so a movie, video loop that you can use, and you can process in the same way you process the shapes, or you can even use live feed. So you can have a webcam, whatever, you plug it in, and you can process it through a lot of these processes that I showed here. Again, I might show these more advanced applications in a further video. All right, thank you for watching.